Developed by Lucky Mountain Games and published by Sumo Digital or Curve Digital depending on the region you are on, HOTSHOTS Racing is a flat-shaded polygon arcade racer as you figured it out by now. If you haven't though, then open your eyes and put your glasses in your fucking face! Entering the main menu, you will have the typical championship, time trial and single player modes, and that's a bit bare bones. But I will get to these modes in a bit. Sure, the game has 8-player online and up to 4-player couch co-op options, and that's very nice, but I don't much care about it, but still, that's basic in modern gaming. Well, at least online multiplayer is basic. Most developers today tend to forget about couch co-op, so HOTSHOTS Racing surely gets points just for that alone. The shop is what may be a bit more interesting since you can buy a few body parts for all your cars, new paint jobs and even new racing suits for all racers. Well, you need to unlock most of these first by beating a championship with a specific driver, a specific car, etc. to be able to even buy them. Regardless, this can get a bit grindy considering how many drivers there are, that each driver has 4 individual cars and all cars have multiple individual body parts. But it's cool the way it is. Or, well, it would be if the game was better. But hey, at least in this regard, the game certainly has content. Time trial is what you can expect. You drive around to learn the track, get accustomed to the car or whatever and beat the time of a ghost. If you can. Single player is a bit more interesting because essentially there are 4 modes in here. The usual single race, cops and robbers where you play as the cop and try to catch the robbers, or you play the robber and try to flee from the cops. Drive or explode, which means you have to keep your speed up, otherwise you will go boom. Well, kind of. And barrel barrage, where you get barrels and place them on the track to take the health of your opponents down. Think of this mode as, I don't know, kart racer mode where you use items to damage your opponents. So there is certainly a bit of variety and can be a bit of fun from time to time to play these modes, but it's not as fun as it should have been because of a few problems. Before I get to that though, there is also a championship mode. There are 5 championships in 3 difficulty levels, and after 4 races you need to have the most amount of points to win. Well, duh. But even on expert, while it can be challenging, mostly for the wrong reasons though, I will get to, it's still not highly difficult, and once you are done with all 5 championships in all difficulty levels, then the game will turn into a grind fest, which can be a bit annoying. At least if you want to unlock everything in the game. If not, then it's fine, I guess. You will beat the championships and simply move on. Because there isn't much in here that will keep you playing. And it wouldn't surprise me if you play just a few short races and move on. Reason for this isn't the drifting mechanics themselves, because they are quite fine. Sure, you need to get used to the drifting mechanics initially, even when every car feels different to drive and drift around. But it's fine the way it is. It's not hard to learn how to drift, but not hard to master either. The driving as a whole is also quite fine. Maybe the mechanics could have been a bit tighter because sometimes the steering feels slightly too sensitive, but it's okay. However, the rubber banding is insane. It literally does not matter how good you are or how perfectly you drive and constantly use boost to drive off. Even if you are far away from the opponents, they will catch up to you in just a few corners, even though in general they drift way less often than you. And yes, you need drift to get boost bars. Look, I get the idea behind the rubber banding. After all, it would be boring, especially for an arcade racer like this, if you could easily drive off every time without having any competition, but there are levels where rubber banding can be way too much, and HOTSHOTS Racing is an example of it being too much. Because there is little to no point in being actually good when the opponents are constantly on your ass, and yes, that destroys the fun this game could otherwise have had or be. Another problem is that the AI is out to get you as if this was, I don't know, Destruction Derby, Demolition Racer or Wreckfest. They have zero mercy and will do anything to spin you out most of the time. Even though I found this to be really annoying, what makes this aspect extra annoying is the fact that the opponents can easily spin you out, but if you try to do the same thing to them, it's as if you are a toy car trying to spin a real car. You see, these aspects really damage the game unnecessarily, because otherwise HOTSHOTS Racing would have had a better chance to go up against other arcade racers like it. Well, this doesn't mean it would beat the competition, but it would have better chance going one-on-one. However though, the game has very nice colors. Graphically there aren't many issues at all. The game sounds quite fine with an extra touch of the characters having accents depending on where they are from, and the music speeding up as soon as you enter the last lap. HOTSHOTS Racing has really nice touches all around and is a nice racer, but I think the tracks could have had a bit more variety in them, because some tracks are just different versions of already existing ones. There is no night racing, which would make this game stand out a bit more, and while the backgrounds are quite well done, I think the developers could have added a bit more variety in it, or some kind of crazy stuff like dinosaurs. But still, the game does not work perfectly though, because on this screen I was trying to go back by pressing the circle, but all of a sudden this function did not work for some reason. I know it's not because of the actual control, because that works fine. It's some kind of problem in the game that causes this out of nowhere, forcing me to restart the game, at least the physical PS4 version. Also yes, this happened to me a few times, not just once. So look, even if I ignored all the issues this game has, then it still would have difficulty competing against other arcade racers like it, because while the game is fine and can be quite fun for a while, it still doesn't do much out of the ordinary that can fully outshine the rest. However, if you can find it for cheap or something and absolutely love arcade racers, then this one is a decent one to play, or at least try.